Welcome to the Othentik Wellness app, where we discuss all matters holistic wellness. I am Lisa Kuyaya Welime, and with me are two lovely ladies. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Julie and I'm a farmer.
My name is Lily. I'm a wellness enthusiast.
Karibuni sana. So what is in our kettle?
Oh, we have amazing stuff today in our kettle. We have lemon, we have yarrow flowers, we have spearmint, peppermint, moringa, and we also have tulsi. So all these nutritious herbs naturally found in our environment that makes a beautiful blend of tea.
Amazing. And another name for tulsi is holy basil. So today we talk about soil nutrition. Yes, you had it right. Soil nutrition. And did you know that the soil and the plant can be malnourished?
I didn't know that.
Did you also know that a malnourished plant cannot give you the proper nutrition? Did you know that? And did you know that the soil and the plant need each other? Well, today we have a soil specialist, and I will invite Miss Julie to tell us about soil and its nutrition. By the way, apparently soil can suffer just like kwashoko and marasmus. Please welcome.
The interesting thing with what you just mentioned about malnutrition is that the same way you can have a malnourished child or person is the same way you can have a malnourished plant. Plants need nutrients to thrive, to develop, and to be at their best, okay? The same way we human beings need those nutrients. So for example, if a child, say, is suffering from kwashako, when we were growing up, I think kwashako was the most malnourished level. I mean, it would show with the stomach and so on. So the same happens with plants. When plants do not get what they need, it will have stunted growth, it will struggle to flower, it will struggle to fruit, and so on. So that is why the health of our soils is so important, because you cannot have healthy plants without having healthy soils. So nutrition and all the wellness we'll be talking about in Othentik Wellness begins at the soil.
Interesting.
Hakuna mali pengine, there is no running away from it. We have to start at the soil. So how best can we make sure that the soil is working for us to have healthy plants that bear nutritious fruits, vegetables, seeds, or grains, whatever comes out of that plant, so that we have nutritious food to feed us. Okay, so that we are at our optimum in terms of our physical well-being. So let's go back to the soil.
Okay.
Soils come in two broad forms. We have living soils, we have dead soils.
Okay.
Hardly anything in between. We just have to look at soil that way in order to do what we need to do to make sure that we have the right soils for the growth of our plants. So living soils, I have an illustration here. Living soils are, if you look at these two soils, they are very different. The structure looks different, even the color looks different. We seek to have living soils for our gardens and our farms.
So which of the two is now living? Because I'm seeing this one is darker, that one is bright.
Just have a look. Okay.
That one looks so
You can
nice.
just compare.
Oh.
Yeah.
This one is moist, this is dry.
Yeah.
This one seems to have like air in it. This one seems to be, anyway, if I want
It's
to
just
plant
some kind of matter.
something a
Yes.
bit,
Yes.
not this one.
Yes. So this
Yeah,
is,
it
I
looks
just
so
picked
pretty.
soil from some part which has not been doing well in the corner of the compound.
Okay.
And then this is composted soil. This is soil that we have worked to create
No wonder it looks nice.
through matter, through decomposting of matter, plants, whatever bugs that maybe die in the soil when you're doing there. This is what comes out. It usually comes out as a black substance called humus, and then it decomposes through all this activity, bacteria and fungi eating into it, all those microorganisms, until you get this.
All right.
Yes.
When you say that, sorry to cut you short, when you say that, it makes it very interesting because we've never really thought about that importance of how my soil looks like. And you're talking about bacteria and fungus, and I'm imagining even in our body we have natural bacteria on our skin surface. We have natural bacteria, like it's a whole ecosystem, you know. So as you're talking, I'm just imagining how much attention I should be paying to my soil, and it has never occurred to me to do that. I only think, oh, I need to eat lemons and yarrow, like I need to eat this, but I've never really thought how important the soil should be, the richness of this, as you're describing. So that's really interesting.
So that richness now is, I guess, a lot of what we'll talk about today. What is in it? What is in it that makes it look so rich and so appealing? So there are all sorts of nutrients in here. There's elements like you'll find like nitrogen, carbon, magnesium, manganese, calcium, all those things that we put in our compost. That's why even when you're making a compost, it's not just about dumping stuff there. You have to kind of find a balance. You have to ensure first and foremost you have two main elements, carbon and nitrogen. And generally, carbon and nitrogen come, for example, nitrogen will come from a lot of the green stuff. Green, the grass after you've mowed your lawn, the green grass, the leaves that fall off from the tree. But once they dry, maybe you put them in the corner and they dry, they have more carbon than nitrogen. Okay, yeah.
Really?
And yes, and sometimes you can even use carton boxes. The way carton boxes are manufactured, they come from natural materials, trees. So they come with the carbon. So usually you want to have more carbon than nitrogen, and I'll tell you why. So even as you're laying down your compost heap, you try as much as possible to have at least to the ratio of 2/3 of the carbon, and then 1/3 of the nitrogen, a little less nitrogen. Then now the other elements, where do the other elements like iron come from, potassium, phosphorus, now the other stuff, banana peels, rich in potassium, eggshells, crushed eggshells, rich in calcium, like that. That's why all those kitchen scrapes, ukidondoa managu yako hapo, those scrapes that come out of it, you put in your compost. You now bring the other world of essential minerals. So as you keep turning and making your compost, it's decomposting. A lot of activity is taking place there. Organisms are coming alive in there. Did you know that one handful of this composted soil holds billions and billions of microorganisms?
Amazing.
Actually, 10 grams. If you take not 10 grams, 1 gram has about a billion.
What?
A billion
Do you
microorganisms. Yes. So you just need like 8 of those to cover
all
to cover all the people in the planet. There are like 8 billion on the planet. So that is the important. That's why these two soils are so different. This one has so much life. In fact, sometimes if you touch composted soil, if you look at it long enough, you see movement in there. You see it fall, a particle has fallen here and there. That is life going on there. Those microorganisms, they are called biomes. Those microorganisms are active. They are working in there, moving. It's a whole village, like a huge village of microorganisms. And when the value of carbon in our soil, carbon is like a host. Carbon is what hosts all these elements in our soil. Carbon won't get absorbed in the plant. Carbon is just carbon dioxide is absorbed through the leaves of the plant, but in the soil, soil where the roots are is called like the way you keep saying a whole ecosystem. Out here we have a whole ecosystem and we have our atmosphere. Down there they have what we call the rhizosphere. Where the roots operate.
That's new for me.
Like 1 foot down where the topsoil is, where the roots are operating, the roots are penetrating. Okay, so why is this composted soil so important? It's because of soil structure. Carbon helps give your soil the best structure possible. Why? It helps glue small particles to form small to like almost ball, not really balls, but they form a little bigger particles, and then they form now this soil. And so in that formation you have spaces in there. So those spaces make it easy for roots to penetrate.
Mm-hmm.
So there's aeration in there, there's air for even the organisms in there to function properly. Remember, they are living, they are eating also in there.
All right.
Yeah. So as they are eating all this stuff that you've put for it,
Mm-hmm.
they are removing castings. Those
yes.
castings are part of the
Nutrition.
yeah. The castings here are part of the nutrition that we need in our soil. That's why that life is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they are creating, when they release those castings, they release them in very simple forms.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now you end up getting your magnesium, your manganese, so you end up getting the stuff that you really need for the growth of your plant. Remember, there is a plant there we want to plant. It's waiting for this conducive environment.
I
This-
have a question. When you talk about castings, I don't know whether it's accurate. Is that what also contributes to the protein in the compost? What gives us the protein in the compost?
I'm going to tell you how protein comes about. Right now we are still dealing with the elements. All these elements moving around in the soil, being hosted by the carbon. Okay? Yeah. And remember, there's nitrogen there. That's why I keep saying nitrogen and carbon are very important in our soils.
Okay.
Do you notice when, even in conventional farming, when we are doing top dressing, what do we use? When we are doing top dressing, CA now, it's NPK.
Yeah.
Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So nitrogen is so key in plant growth. Okay? But nitrogen is not just important for plant growth. Nitrogen helps in the absorption of these other elements, like phosphorus and potassium.
Wow.
Yeah. So it makes it facilitates those. So that's why they are like brother and sister, nitrogen and carbon. Yeah. So once we have this conducive environment, we have a plant, say you've put a seed there or a seedling. So now the root system begins to penetrate. It penetrates, goes into the soil, and then the more composted the soil in that area, the more your root benefits. And the better when the root is extensive enough, there is more surface area. There is more almost like tentacles of the roots to absorb these nutrients. So you're absorbing the nitrogen in compound forms, they say nitrates, you're absorbing the phosphorus, you're absorbing the calcium, it's absorbing all those things. And when they are not there in the plant, then, in the soil, then the plant will suffer. But when they are readily available, then the plant will thrive.
So that's where malnutrition comes in the plant.
Yes.
Oh,
So all these elements are absorbed in the plant. They go and, for example, nitrogen will really help the plant in its structure. It's not limping, it's able to stand upright like that. You'll find calcium is helping also in the strengthening of the structure. Every element has the work it's doing in that plant.
So nitrogen helps in that. Maybe a question as you're going on. A friend of mine had planted some spinach. She's just transitioned to organic farming. Then she keeps asking me, why are my spinach weak all the time? The leaves are big, they're nice, they're green, but the stems, they're limp and they keep falling. So I don't know what to tell her. I'm learning so much.
Of course it can be water, like is the soil moist, so that because water also helps to take up these nutrients. But you can find that actually the soil could be lacking in some of these elements. So that's why the plant looks weak. Yeah. So all these are absorbed in the plant. And everything is working. Remember, photosynthesis is taking place from above.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So photosynthesis is taking place. So we need everything to work well. The soil to do its work for the absorption of the nutrients. Photosynthesis to work. So you need lighting for your plants. You need. Have you noticed sometimes there's stunted growth during the very cold seasons when there's no heat, when there's no sunlight, solar energy. So you need the chlorophyll, you need the sunlight, you need the carbon dioxide that's being absorbed into the plant. If you remember in our biology classes in primary school and high school, the leaves used to have some pores called stomata. These are stomata sasa, they are the ones that absorb that carbon dioxide. Yeah. So now they come and start combining, and there's some chemical reactions taking place with these nutrients that are coming from the soil. So you'll find something like, for example, the nitrogen. Nitrogen begins to form amino acids, which form the building blocks for protein. That's how protein begins to exist in our plants.
Okay.
So if it's your beans, sasa tunaanza kuona our bean We can now say our bean is rich in proteins because of that that activity. Yeah. Then you pick another something like carbohydrates. The photosynthesis that's happening and the energy that's being released in the process of photosynthesis helps create carbohydrates.
Wow.
Yeah. Then another, what do you when you say balanced diet, it's usually proteins.
Proteins, vitamins,
Yeah.
carbohydrates.
Then vitamins.
Yes.
Vitamins, as the elements are being absorbed in the soil, it meets with the energy that's being created through photosynthesis. That chemical reaction forms for us our vitamins.
Oh,
Yes.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
it's interesting.
It's a very amazing and beautiful process.
Our plants are so powerful.
Yeah, these plants are amazing.
They're amazing. The way they
We
can
need to-
just create for you
Yes.
what you need for your sustenance.
Yeah.
And imagine how grateful we should be to these plants. How well we should take care of our plants because they're actually
Exactly.
taking care of us. Converting all these things as you've described, what we call junk, what we throw away. These plants, we should nurture them and really honor them because
Awesome.
they keep us
Yeah, you
alive.
said it. You said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we have to really respect plants.
Yeah.
We have to really respect nature. What we should be is facilitators of nature. We make this happen. We provide this. We create this cycle where nothing goes to waste. We create these compost heaps. We make sure that our soils are getting what they need. Then
Yeah.
they'll come and feed us. They'll take care of us.
Yeah.
Good soils will take care of us.
You know, as you're talking like that, I'm just imagining, back when I was in high school, we used to have mapera trees and other fruit trees. So there was an orchard in the school where you would find nobody cleans I think our principal must have had that knowledge. Nobody cleans that environment. So the fruits drop, they rot. There are flies, there are warts, there are insects, all these things are happening. And you wonder how that in itself, because when they rot, as you're saying, they're composting, they're feeding the soil. God wasn't, I don't know what to say. God was smart. Let me not say what he was not. God was smart to make sure that us were the ones who are coming into damage, but he made sure the system takes care of itself. If you take enough for what you need for eating, and the rest is taken back to the soil, like what came from the soil.
Yeah.
My dad is an organic farmer.
Yeah.
So he says what has come from the soil must go back to the soil.
Exactly.
Because if you don't complete the cycle,
cycle.
then you're stealing from the soil.
Yes, you're
And
depriving
now
it.
what you're saying makes sense. He said it. It didn't make sense why dad is making us do these things. At Isidri, you're going to panda mboga, you do your double digging, you must put the layer of when you're doing mulching, Sidri, you do what. This is how he used to make us do.
Yes.
And our skuma wikis, he also used to say, pinch it like this. And it was soft. You know the way skuma wiki becomes hard after you've harvested multiple times? It kept being soft.
Yeah.
And he kept telling us, when you nurture nature, it nurtures you back.
Exactly.
And it appreciates you. Now it is sinking in. Thank you.
It's making sense.
Yeah, now it's making
It's
sense.
amazing. I mean, and you know what the Bible says? God has given us
Everything.
plants for food and for medicine, and that plant we need to take care of it so that it can take care of us. Now, ladies, what is our parting shot, Miss Julie?
So for me, my parting shot would be this. I think you've already said it. We take Wangari Maathai was always telling us, take care of nature. If you don't take care of nature, it's going to destroy us. In the future, there'll be nothing for us to look out to sustain us. So if we do our part in facilitating nature, as opposed to fighting it, as opposed to sometimes we get so fascinated by technological advancements at the expense of what nature is telling us. That's why I usually say that any technology we embrace should go hand in hand with nature, not fight nature. Yeah. So for me, my parting shot would be, let's do our best in facilitating nature. Because it already has the processes, those symbiotic processes that work on their own. They just need us to make sure everything is in the right condition. Look at how carbon facilitates, is a host. It's like a host, and then nitrogen is like a messenger or an emissary. Go do the work. But the host keeps doing his work in there. So we need to see that we do our part in facilitating nature, and it will take care of us. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
For me, I
amazing.
think my biggest takeaway today is seeing how my actions directly impact my actions for enriching the soil directly impacts the nutrition I receive. Because I kind of feel like if I don't give the carbon that it requires, or I don't create the environment that this soil is able to have the carbon, is able to have the nitrogen, is able to have all those things. And how then do I enhance the capacity or the quantity of carbohydrates? Because I feel like if a plant has all the nutrients, if the soil is so nutritious, then I get a more nutritious food out of the plant.
Nutrient dense.
And nutrient, exactly, that's the
yeah.
word. So I'm feeling like we need to really take responsibility for what we have in our hands.
Exactly.
If you have like an aid, if you have a small patch, a kitchen garden, it's our responsibility to take care of the nutrition of the soil, which enhances the nutrition of the plant, and therefore enhancing my intake and uptake of nutrients also. Because sometimes I'm imagining if I take the skuma wiki that is like my dad's skuma wiki and I buy from the market, I get hyperacidity with the skuma wiki sometimes from the market. But his, when I eat, it's
Exactly.
highly nutritious. I don't get hyperacidity. So I'm kind of just connecting my responsibility to soil nutrition, its benefits to me, and also how I can enhance my personal nutrition by first starting from the soil. So I completely agree with you. I've learned a lot today. So much more.
It's a beautiful world.
Yeah. Like now what we are taking here. I'm imagining the vitamin C that's in this lemon.
Yeah.
Or the whatever, the micronutrients that are in the moringa, because moringa is known to be a superfood. So the quality of what's in my cup of tea today is determined by the person who planted.
Exactly.
What did they do for their soil?
Wow, amazing. And even let me interrupt you. Sorry, I know we are in our parting shot. As you're talking about moringa and these foods, for example, that have you. The next question would be, what is in our the properties that we're looking for, like antioxidants. Next time, I think we'll talk about how like vitamins works together to form for us the antioxidants.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. It's so true.
Well,
Interesting.
viewers, you have heard the amazing soil that we need to take care of it. And whatever is in the soil will determine what is on your plate. So thank you very much. This is the Authentic Wellness app, where we talk about all matters wholeness and wellness. Please follow us on our socials and let us know what you want us to talk about. Bye-bye. It's been a pleasure. Bye.